Yes, the mics are working. Go ahead.
Not every mic is working.
You can tell me where we're ready. Hello, I'm George Karahaglis from Greece, and I'm here with my colleague, Mr. Stefanos Pallas. We have prepared for you a little presentation, a little video presentation, and afterwards I might have something to add. I will tell you after the video presentation. Please, you can proceed with the video presentation.
Let us introduce you to the Greek representation team.
Hi. My name is George Kariklios.
Hi, my name is Stefanos Pallas.
I am a EURES advisor and I am working at the Public Employment Service HQ as the SPOC.
I am a EURES advisor. I am working at a local PES office and I am a communication officer.
I am in charge for many projects about employment policies and I have participated in the previous Information and Communication Working Group.
I have participated in transnational recruitment meetings and in the previous Information and Communication Group as well.
What was Greece's biggest communication success in the last 2 years? Well, the launch of the Greek EURES Facebook page.
What are our communication goals for the coming years? To promote the EURES brand name, to increase awareness, to facilitate the collaboration between our partners, to implement the national EURES communication strategy with your help.
Let's make it together.
So I hope you liked it. I would like to add two things actually, because all the rest were mentioned in this video presentation. First of all, as you may all know, we had a change in our leadership. So this is a new era for us in EURES. We have to re-establish our role within our PES. I think it won't be very difficult, but we have to adapt a little bit to the new guidelines that we are to be given. Furthermore, we have to adapt with our new funding processes because it is not so easy yet. I don't know why it has been so difficult for us to adapt as we would like to. I would like to say that we have a certain project that we are going to proceed with. It's called information packages. We have prepared two information packages, one for the employers and one for the job seekers. Both of them are going to be introduced to our approach processes towards our customers, and I think that it would be very good if we had some opinions, if we could give them to you and have your opinions about it. So this is what we are planning to do on the next 1 or 2 months. And of course our big challenge for the two of us mostly, and for the rest of our EURES team, would be to build our communication strategy and our EURES and our social media strategy also. So this is it. Thank you very much.
Okay, just to tell you, we don't have someone coming from Hungary for this meeting, neither from Spain, nor from Iceland. So we go over to Italy, to Mariosa.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Rosa Chiocca, EURES advisor from Italy. As you probably know, Italy is very popular and famous for food and cuisine. And this year is the year of Expo, World Expo exposition in Milan, and the core theme is food. So let me play around the metaphor of food and have a look to the menu I have prepared. Today's special. Please have a look. I think that a metaphor helps to look at things from different point of view. As like in cooking, like in cuisine, for the perfect plate you need the perfect ingredient, the right balance and mix of ingredient. At the same time, for a project or for an idea, to be successful you need the right ingredients. So, in the menu you can find some more information about myself. And the today's special, EURES Italy is a network of 70 EURES advisors and many EURES assistants, very integrated in the public employment services. The ingredients is enthusiasm, motivation, team spirit, and as I mentioned, a strong integration in the past. Last year was an important year for us because we organized many EURES events around Italy. We organized the first job days online, and we experimented the new tools, Blackboard, Livestream, NetOp. The ingredients was a strong network partnership between institutions, stakeholders, universities. And for the future, we'd like to improve more the use of these tools, and the main ingredient will be challenge, and innovation, technology, professionality. I should say bon appétit, but I say enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to Lithuania.
Hello everyone. My name is Agne Žigaitė and I represent Lithuania today. I'm working as EURES advisor and I do not belong to Communication and Information Working Group. I'm here instead of my colleague Jurgita. She is on a maternity leave, so this kind of event is also very new for me. And as our best communication product from the last years, I want to mention our EURES best communication strategy. As we are only 10 EURES advisors in Lithuania, we have decided that we will have at least one responsible person in every branch office of our PES system. So we organize some kind of trainings every year for them. What is more, we have so-called EURES Advisor Day, which means that once in 3 months we have to visit each branch office and we give consultations to job seekers as well as to PES staff who are responsible for EURES services or who have some questions related to our services. And for the coming years, the most important thing is to raise the awareness of EURES between Lithuanian employers, because Lithuanian PES is dealing more and more with employers who find difficulties in finding employees at the local level. So we want the employers to know the benefits of using EURES services and the access to the potential workers available in the European Economic Area. So we inform them by emails. We have prepared an email, kind of a leaflet, and we're also planning to organize event sessions for employers just to present our services and to share the best practices that we have already had. So that's more about it. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to admit that my knowledge of the alphabet is not exactly as it should be, because I've skipped Ireland. So, Ireland, you have the floor, and my apologies.
My name is Mairead Cook. I'm representing Eurays Ireland. I'm part of the National Coordination Unit of Eurays Ireland. I'm brand new to the section, so this is all a very new and interesting experience. My experience working with job seekers before was in a different section where we used to deal with processing the support payments for job seekers. So Eurays is all very new to me, and I have to say it's very interesting. I'm going to be part of the Communications Strategy Working Group within Ireland. So our aim in that is to develop our own Eurays Ireland website, and also we want to start promoting our services more through social media, particularly through Facebook. So I've nothing else to add. I have to say I'm really enjoying the other presentations. They're really interesting, and I'm delighted to be here today for this opportunity to learn and to meet people within the Eurays network. Thank you.
Thank you. Luxembourg.
Hello. My name is Emmanuel Mathieu. I am working in the National Coordination Office of Luxembourg. As you certainly know, Luxembourg is a very, very small country. So we have a very small team in US. We have 8 US advisors. And in the coordination office, there is me for the moment. We have a new management, and who is really receptive to US and to the communication about US and about the possibilities which we can offer through US to employers. So we have a new department in our PES working with employers, and so now we will focus on that target group to promote US. We had quite big success in November when we organized a job dating. So it was a new concept for us. We scheduled very short interviews with job seekers, interviews of 15 minutes, and we had really a huge success with it. The companies were very satisfied, and so we had a very good press coverage through that event. Before the event, we organized coaching of the job seekers who came to the interviews, just to explain to them what exactly a job dating is and what it's about, that you really have to convince in 15 minutes. And during the same day, we organized a common recruitment action, which was organized with Pôle emploi and with the forum, because Luxembourg, as you know, has many frontiers. And so it was a really general event where we also promoted this common recruitment session with our past colleagues from other countries. So now we will, 6 months later, so now we will re-edit a new press release about the achievements of that event and about really statistics on placement on that event. So we are now doing our statistics and research, and we will edit that press release soon. The big challenge might be now for the future to go online, because we never went online, and I participated to the training about online job days, which was very excellent. So, and we now will focus on promoting US within employers, because in Luxembourg employers do not know US, but they should. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I saw on the participation list that there was Pierre from Luxembourg, but you don't look like Pierre, so I've understood now that. All right, we go to Latvia, to Andris.
Hello, my name is Andris Seglinš and I'm a regional Euros advisor, and from last year I'm doing also additional task. I'm acting Euros manager, so I'm main person in our Euros team now. Regarding communication, unfortunately we haven't a special PR person in our team, and we are a small team. We have only 6 Euros advisors, and that means that our Euros advisors are doing everything, writing articles, do communication activities. Of course, best PR department support us, but mostly our Euros advisors are doing the main part of communication. Regarding communication success, I would like to mention our brochure, Know Before You Go, which we produced together with Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And brochure includes information on job search, recruitment, administrative procedures. And why this brochure is so important? Because for some 2 years we have had cases and we have received information on fake and false job offers and recruiters, and that's why we concentrate our communication not on job mobility as such, but on fair job mobility. And we have had also a special not campaign, but special activities, seminars, and in schools for job seekers about fair job mobility. And for communication goal, I would like that we will start more active using of social media, but in our case, as we have a small team, we have a lack of staff for doing it very active, because it's time consuming, and we understand that if we will start to work with social media, we should do it very in active way. And also we are planning to organize also something virtual, and we are thinking about online job days. Thank you.
Thank you, Andris. It's over to Malta now, to Claire.
Hi, good morning everyone. I'm Claire Katkuti from Malta, the smallest country in the EU. Nevertheless, we're quite active in EURES. We've been launching a new Facebook page, a new DVD for employers, and also a new EURES Malta website. However, I would like to mention today that our greatest success, I would say, lately was the contact with employers. As an incoming country right now, we have a lot of shortages. We've been concentrating on employers also because we do not have any ESF funds till now. So without any funds, we are now having the time to give more attention to the employers. What we started doing is that when an employer is contacting the PES, instead of contacting the other section which deals with new vacancies, they are dealing now right away with us. So we're starting the contact with them, we're opening the vacancy and putting it online. And this hopefully will give us now the chance to follow them up and get actually placements to record, which is now even the communication strategy will be stressing on that, and an important issue for us to be handling in the coming months. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. It's now over to the Netherlands, Harry van den Berg.
Even zien hoe de microfoon werkt. Doet hij het? Ja, hij doet het. Geweldig. Well, my name is Harry van den Berg. And I am normally sitting in another working group, the IT working group. But this day I can replace Paul Kops. And I have something to say about the successful communication business. We had several European job days online, and I noticed that these involves so much communication about EURES that it wasn't there before. We had only once reached the pole position on the 8 o'clock news on television. That was only once, but after that it became quiet. And with this online job days, we get a much more traffic and attention for EURES. Another point is also that we have the internal promotion of EURES, and that is something that is really more difficult. And we had also a yearbook which we present with all the results of the last period, and that is well read. But how do you bring it to everybody? When will they have time? That is something Paul is going to tell you something more, because he is over there.
Good morning, everyone. As you can see, I'm not in Brussels today. I'm a member from since 2008 of this Information and Communication Working Group. I'm the spokesperson of the Netherlands. I hope you have a pleasant meeting, and tonight a pleasant dinner with excellent awards.
Okay, Paul. Yeah. And Paul, can you tell me something about the goals we want to reach within 5 years with communications?
Yes, of course. I have 3. We hope to achieve internal awareness of the European labor mobility. Okay. And also I hope on national and on our PAS level, but also on the European portal, an improvement of the European online services.
Okay.
And the last one, I hope that the partners of EURES will be solid partners, not just partners for a quick result, but partners we can achieve for a very long period.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Harry, to be in my place in Brussels. I hope to see you again in October this year, and I wish you all a nice meeting again and a good trip back home.
All right, thank you, Paul.
Bye.
That was it.
All right, thank you very much. It's over to Poland, to Isabella.
Hello everyone, my name is well, I've been with EURES since 2009. I'm a member of the NCO team. I'm a kind of spokesperson for EURES, but also I'm involved in the training coordination. And also we are moving to the coordination of the European social funding for EURES, hopefully from next year. Well, as far as the communications is concerned, we are very excited about the communications, and I'd like to thank to the Commission for the provision of this horizontal support, because we are actively using the online tools. Last year we provided the 3 online job days that were piloted, but this year we are actually gathering all the regions that are interested in joining, and so they are doing a kind of joined up event together, which is the first time of its kind in the country, because we tend to kind of compete between the regions, but now thanks to this support the regions join together, so they will provide one coordinated event. Also, I don't know if you're aware, our advisors are providing a NetOp chat, which is being available the whole week from Monday to Friday in 5 languages. And believe again or not, we have even requests from South America and Asia, so they know already EURES in these areas of the world. Also, we are actively using Blackboard Collaborate, not only for the internal communication, but for the dedicated projects. One of them is cooperation with Austrian colleagues on traineeships, which is very, very good for us, and I think it should be promoted. So I think I just have a very straightforward message for communication. It's the enhancement of fair job opportunities and skills for European citizens and contributing to the development of the European employers. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have our next speaker who has arrived. So, Dietrich, are you ready to face the wolves of this working group? No, I think you will enjoy it.
Okay.
We have done a series of introduction rounds for everyone. The contractor has introduced their team. We have introduced our team for our side. And I mentioned in the introduction that we would also have a presentation on the Commission's corporate communication strategy as something that is sort of an umbrella for the work that we're going to do with EURES. So if you're ready, go ahead with your presentation. Yes.
Thank you, Dude, and welcome, and thanks a lot for inviting me to this very important meeting. So I thought I will give you a short overview of what the new Commission does in the area of communication. I will talk about corporate communication and obviously also the DG Employment's own communication strategy 2015. Maybe at the end some reflections together how we can enhance cooperation. I don't know how this works with the slides, but I invite those who are close to the PC to move on to the next slide. So that is just to warm you up. I don't know if I'm standing here right in the middle. Maybe I sit down. So that's just to bring you in the mood. You obviously know that the new Commission has started 1st of November, and we have a new commissioner called Marianne Thyssen. She's Belgian, and she's responsible for employment, social affairs, skills, and labor mobility. And if you click once more, we can see where she is. So that's the lady. And what is important, I think, for you to know that, and this is already the name of her portfolio, that skills have been added. Previously it was in another DG, another commissioner responsible, but now DG Employment, Commissioner Thyssen is responsible for skills, vocational education and training are all together. It is maybe nice to notice that the name of our DG didn't change. We are still Employment, Social Affairs and Inclusion without skills, but this doesn't matter. I mean, there is a political distribution of portfolios and we stay what we call internally DG Empl. Now another novelty, and this is, I will not go into the details on these slides, is that we have 7 vice presidents. And what is their role? Well, their role is to steer and coordinate better the work across the Commission in key policy areas. So for us, and maybe also for you, this means that we are now part of what is called project teams. And these project teams are, well, there are 7 of them, obviously, 7 vice presidents, 7 project teams. And we are, among others, dealing with what is called jobs, growth, investment and competitiveness, which is run by the vice president, Katainen. He is just standing on the right of the commissioner, so the Finnish colleagues know who it is. So no further explanations. And the other project team we are somehow joining in is Euro and the Social Dialogue, run by the Vice President Dombrovskis, who is from Latvia, that's the right word, sorry for this. Okay, if we move on to the next slide, and then I will go a bit deeper into what is called the policy priorities of this new Commission. Some of you have probably heard about it, but I would like just to remind that when Juncker ran his campaign, he submitted his what is called agenda, a new start for Europe, agenda for jobs growth, fairness and democratic change. And in this agenda he put forward 10 priorities, 10 policy areas to be tackled under his presidency. Now, these 10 policy priorities have become what is called now political guidelines. And when Juncker was somehow not yet voted by the parliament, but he communicated to the parliament, and I quote from a letter, he said to them, These policy priorities are akin to a political contract that I concluded with the European Parliament to mark the beginning of a new mandate and to prioritize the work of the new Commission. So it's a political contract that he said, and you can imagine that this has somehow had an impact on us. In addition to that, he told the Parliament, I want to be, and I quote again, I want to be bigger and more ambitious on big things and smaller and more modest on small things. Now, what are the big things, obviously? Well, the big things are behind me on the screen. These are the 10 policy guidelines. And if you look carefully, you will notice that 2 of them are relevant for our field, employment and labor mobility. That's the first one, the yellow one. It's called a new boost for jobs, growth and investment. And the number 5 in blue, a deeper and fairer economic and monetary union. So this is important for you and for us, since in the run-up of, or in the starting phase of the Commission, these policy guidelines have also become what is called the new corporate communication themes of this Commission. So for us and the administration, this means that all services have to align to them, show what they do to contribute to them, and develop communication strategies around them. Obviously, we have done so in our communication strategy 2015, and if you, well, it's online, but we can also send it to you. They explicitly, or this strategy explicitly refers to those guidelines, and also the mission letter that was sent in the follow-up by the President to our Commissioner, in which he goes in more detail what he expects from her and obviously from us. Corporate communication, that's the next slide. It is important for us, or maybe for you also, to know that communication has shifted under Juncker, under his authority. So when we meet colleagues from DG Com, they tell us we are a presidential service now. And that's quite a message for us. That doesn't mean we do not do any communication anymore, but it's clear that the communication is somehow a little bit centralized now. And coordination and monitoring of the DG's activities takes place. Corporate communication has become more prominent under this new Commission. And why I put this wonderful slide here, because we have been told that we have to show the big picture. And people in DG Com told us we have to show the wood rather than the trees. We have to show the forest. We don't want to see individual DGs promoting their files, promoting their commissioners, promoting their little things, but we want to show a bit what we do together and what we do to make a difference. And they communicate to us also the 10 priorities are the guidelines. These are the areas where we want to make a difference. So today my message to you is that EURES as a network, as an important partner of the Commission, should help us to take these 10 policy priorities into account and possibly align to them in your communication activities that you plan in the years to come. Next slide is another novelty. Thank you. What is called the breaking of the silos. And again, I quote from a letter from President Juncker because it becomes so clear what he means by it. And well, here's the quote. In the new Commission, there are no first or second class commissioners. There are team leaders and team players. They will work together in a spirit of collegiality and mutual dependence. I want to overcome silo mentalities and introduce a new collaborative way of working in areas where Europe can really make a difference. End of the quote. So, well, we have spoken already about centralization. This is also true then for the press work. We have a new spokesperson service that breaks the silo in the sense that they have become smaller and they do not communicate anymore on each and every individual commissioner, but their task is to communicate on policy lines, on deliverables, on what we have achieved together. And this is a fundamental change when we compare to the previous Commission. So there is a streamlining of communication and press work. It goes beyond DGs. So we have to think and we have to adapt to this and see what we can do in this new context. Most likely it means for our field that we do less press work and maybe focus communication more on web, social media speeches, because the press work will be much more centralized. Another conclusion is that we will probably face a more selective and a more political communication from the Commission, focusing on the big project. So the reflection goes the way that we have to showcase that we are part of these big projects and that we contribute to them, and then we will somehow taken into account and our voices will be heard. So we have to show through our work, through your work together, that we are working on the big projects, that we are part of these 10 policy guidelines, and that we have, and that's one internal consequences we draw, we have to start much more in advance to identify what we want to achieve, what are our key messages, in order to ensure that communication is embedded right from the beginning in the policy making process. It doesn't come somehow like an annex at the end. So my word to you, my appeal to you would be, think about your main messages, your overall communication objectives. I have seen that you have developed, or we have developed together, a strategy that's very good, and how this strategy then contributes to promote the main policy priorities that we have ahead of us. Now let's turn to the next slide, and this is the tree. The tree, I mean, there's a forest and there's still the tree of DG Employment, and these are the 4 main communication priorities planned for 2015, which are investment, job creation, labor mobility, and social dialogue, fight against discrimination, and the social dimension of MU. Very briefly on the investment package, obviously we will communicate about our contribution to this 315 billion package, in particular the employment and human capital side. We'll also communicate on the youth guarantee, youth employment initiative, and the adoption or the follow-up of the adoption of the member states' operational programs. Second, job creation. Here we have in mind to communicate everything around what is called internally employability and skills package that is supposed to be adopted before summer. We will see with the timing, but when it is adopted, we will probably focus very much on entrepreneurship, self-employment, skills, and lifelong learning to reduce unemployment. So this is somehow part of the package, and I think we have a lot of things to say here. Labor mobility, that's obviously the thing which is the closest to your work. Again, this is a sensitive topic in many countries. We are aware of this. So our main point will be that we would like to promote the fundamental principle that should not be eroded, but we should also make clear in our communication how we can help member states to fight abuses where they exist. We have in mind to adopt by the end of this year what is called a labor mobility package. A labor mobility package which would cover the revision of the regulation on social security coordination, posting of workers, will contain elements on European social security authentication system, and something about highly mobile workers. Obviously, there will be also part of it the extension of the pilot project, Your First Juris Job. So I think we will have a very important package here, which will also very much or very well relate to the new Juris regulation and the revision of the Juris platform. So I think we have there something in front of us that is very well in terms of communication, and where we can promote together this idea of labor mobility in Europe. I think we are aware that obviously you contribute to this communication, but that we should also somehow involve Commission representations and maybe other networks such as the Europe Direct Network or Eurodesk, where we have already also with other DGs good contacts. Last but not least, social dialogue, fight against discrimination and the social dimension of MU. Here we have already started this year. There was a big event in March on the what is called relaunch of the social dialogue. There have been Juncker was involved, the Broskis and Tyson, we had quite some media impact, the journalist seminar. So things are going fine in this area, and we will continue to promote the social dialogue and then also cover communication-wise the European Accessibility Act and the review of the European Disability Strategy 2010-2020. Well, last but not least, what does this mean to all of you or to us? There's three reflections that I want to propose to maybe a short discussion. What does this mean for the cooperation between employment, between the Commission and EURES? I think, first of all, that there is a high interest to enhance this cooperation and mutually reinforce it. EURES is invited to contribute to the communication of the 10 policy priorities, but obviously the Commission is invited, and we do so to promote the network, the EURES portal, and the achievements that are achieved through this. Second proposal is that we should establish maybe coherent communication plans. I have mentioned our communication plan, there is yours, and the things should go hand in hand. We will enhance cooperation when we promote the EURES reform and the revised portal. And I'm sure in the medium term we can maybe establish something like a joint planning on how best to prepare and implement communication actions beyond 2015. And finally, last but not least, we need to enhance synergies, two-way communication. So you promote, we promote EURES as part of our communication strategy and somehow integrate as much as possible what you do at European and national level, and we hope that you will help us to promote the European project and what we do on the national and regional level. So we would be mutually reinforcing, and I think that the upcoming mobility package, for instance, would be a good opportunity to prepare communication, join forces, and make sure that we have together a strong impact on the ground. That's all I wanted to say. I think it's already enough, and if there are questions, I'm happy to answer, or criticism, whatever. Thank you very much for your attention.
Any observations or questions or comments? In light of the last slide, one of the topics that we could put on the agenda for the next information and communication working group is to talk about this possibility to use this labor mobility package as a way to communicate in a forward result-oriented way on EURES and labor mobility. So this is an item that we could propose for the next meeting, and if you agree to that, we will do some preparation and then discuss with you how we could roll out such a first coordinated approach on labor mobility in the EU. So that's a concrete suggestion following the excellent presentation from Dietrich. So if you don't have any more questions, then I guess Dietrich can go and do his other things back in the office now. And, but you're welcome to stay also and listen to other things. And
well, am I invited for lunch? Because I haven't.
That's a typical Commission official, free lunch. Yes, you're invited for lunch, Dietrich. So, if there are no more further questions, let's go on with the tour de table, the round. We had, as the last speaker, we had Isabella from Poland, and now we go to one of our, foundations of the working group, Ana Margareta from Portugal. Yes.
There you go. Well, one of the foundations, actually, yes. Apparently, I'm here 10 years ago. I was here 10 years ago. So, well, I'm representing EURES Portugal. I I will be very, very synthetic on what I want to say. I will try. Actually, for the last couple of years, well, what we would say have been our major achievements since 2013, maybe. Well, our participation in the European Online Job Days, yeah, from the start with this new platform. We have since May 2013 had 5 events based on that platform so far, and we have tried to contribute with our experience also to the further development of the platform. And having the platform not only as an IT tool to support our events, but also as an organizational tool for the whole event organization. This is one of the I would say achievements in the last few years. Also, due to that, I've been cooperating within the trainings regarding the European Online Job Days. Regarding other achievements, I would say we have also tried to make the best use of the tools that the Commission is providing us, namely regarding Blackboard Collaborate. We have implemented since the end of 2013 within the network policy of having monthly webinars with the whole Juris Advisor network, where we are sharing, well, the main difficulties we're finding, all of the technical issues that we have to share among ourselves, also using it to deliver small modular trainings on certain topics, bringing some of the other networks within the Commission to share their own experience with us. I would say these might be the achievements we had in the last few years. We've done a lot of work, but as Mark would say, lots of work does not mean we know where we're heading. So one of the achievements we would like to, one of the major challenges we would like to achieve for the next few years is really having a national communication strategy regarding Juris, where we would include things related to our, well, probably further developments also in the EOGD platform. They're also important for us. We are actually trying to have Juris more and more as a placement tool, as a recruitment tool. And some of the features which have been included in the platform might even be used for smaller purpose events, such as recruitment projects, not only big, huge events, but having recruitment activities based on those matching tools, much more targeted with skills included and so on. So also one of our main concerns, as you are saying, having Juris advisors becoming Juris ambassadors. In order to do this, this is not only a communication priorities, it goes much beyond that, but we have to empower them to become Juris ambassadors. They have to have a kind of mandate which is sometimes not attributed to them. And in order to achieve this, we also need to have a much greater recognition within the PES and within other future Juris members and Juris partners. So the mainstreaming within our own organizations is also very important. And more concrete things also regarding our social media participation. We have to extend it a little further. We have this Facebook page, but it's all we could manage to have so far. And relationship to employers, I'm really looking forward to see what our colleagues have to share with us during this meeting, because actually this has been one of our weaknesses, the relationship to employers. How to have them joining the network or getting interested in our services. So I'm looking forward to see your best practices.
Thank you. Over now to Romania, to Gabriela.
Hello, my name is Gabriela Nedelcu. I'm the EURES advisor. I'm EURES advisor in the Romanian Public Employment Service since 2007, when we joined the European Union. I'm working as single point of contact, and I'm as well member of National Coordination Office. When it comes about communication biggest success, it depends, but what are you looking for? If you are looking for results, I could mention over 1,000 workers, Romanian workers placed abroad through EURES. If you are looking to new ways to reach job seekers, I could mention information sessions organized in Italy, Cyprus and Spain, where big communities of Romanians are living, and where mixed teams of EURES and responsible in social security offered useful information to the workers or unemployed. And we intend to do this kind of action also this year too. Last but not least, from this year we are present on the Facebook page of our Public Employment Service, and we registered in the first quarter over 14,000 visitors or readers on EURES subjects. When we speak about communication goals for this year, the main is to raise the awareness of the job seekers of EURES services and, if possible, of EURES brand by strengthening this page of EURES page, and by using the IT tools provided by the Commission. I mean about using chat. We intend to open this chat this year on two topics. First is for information about job opportunities in Europe, and the second is on social security rights and obligations once employed or unemployed in a European country. Thank you.
We have a few more countries left, so it's over now to Sweden, to Mikael Lindbom.
Hello, Michael from Sweden. I'm working at NCO at PES in Sweden, and what we are working a lot today is to see all the tools, social media, online tools, to be integrated to one, because I think we have streamed a lot, but sometimes we forget that streaming is just a tool to get the message out, and therefore we have made a communication plan how to integrate everything, where online tools, social media and communication is integrated to each other. A problem we have, not only we perhaps, employers are hard to convince about the tool. Well, okay, we have to accept this. Therefore, we are discussing streaming more to job seekers, to give information about opportunities in Norway, as we did, or your first EURES job, and then leave the EURES activities to employers and visit them and bring them to the countries. Because our experience is that employers, they like to go and meet the job seekers face to face. Sorry to say, but it's just a fact. But we have streamed with employers. I think we could be more successful if more EURES advisors in Sweden understand the streaming tool. That's why we are educating the next group next week in live stream. And we have some Norwegian colleagues with us. And it's not that we think that Ernst & Young are doing a bad job. It's just that streaming is actually a little complicated. And a small group, there you are allowed to tell all those silly questions that are not silly, but you can say them in a small group. So next week in Uppsala in Sweden, we are educating 12 new ambassadors for live streaming. But we will talk about not only streaming, that's just the tool, as I said. We will talk about having a communication plan to do your work. Yeah, and I will talk about it later this afternoon. But we use Facebook as a not a placement tool, but people don't find vacancies at PES Job Bank. But when we put them on Facebook, directly people see them. We have quite a lot amount of likes at our Facebook page. We learned that we can't just have a bank for vacancies. Put it out where people are, and then the vacancies will be seen. Yeah. Every time an invitation comes to go to a job fair somewhere in Europe, if we can't go there with vacancies, or we can't meet the right job seekers, engineers or people in the healthcare sector, we won't go, but we always offer to be with you online. And a lot of countries can't offer that yet, but together with France and Italy, we've made some success to use NetUp so we can communicate. That's good for the future. A job seeker might not be ready to be mobile now, but give information on a distance in the next 2-3 years. That one can be able to go to our country. Well, that's it.
Thank you. We have Slovenia, Nada Senada.
Hello, I come from Slovenia. My name is Nada, and I'm part of this group since 2010. Yes. Our big achievement in the last 2 years was that we have introduced Facebook page, as you can see, and so it's one big like for PES Slovenia, because we had long-term discussions, because they actually PES management was kind of afraid of bad comments, because social media is open. Then you have to be prepared for all the comments you receive from followers. But we had an argument that we can deal with this, if there were any. We can deal with it, and we can make our service even better. So actually, we have solved all some problems with a client who was complaining also to the Commission regarding your first EURES job, and he has sent a private message to our PES and EURES Facebook page, and we have invited him, and we have actually solved the problem. So this is a very good way also to communicate and to solving the problem. The most posts that got really engaged were posts on job placements, mainly entertainment business, and also a post of new Norwegian website got many likes and many shares, so the people were engaged and sharing this information. But we also post information on social security coordination, like how to transfer you to unemployment benefit and other. So it's very useful tool, Facebook, because we can reach not only unemployed people, but all the people who are interested in finding job. And for the future, we are now thinking of opening LinkedIn profile, and maybe because Facebook, we talk mainly to job seekers. There are not many employers, so now we think of opening a LinkedIn page. So I look forward to your presentation, Michael, and to attract also employers through the social media platform. And for the next 5 years, we want to find the balance between this digital and social media and also face-to-face communication, because we also see that it's very, very important. Now we are organizing online job day, and we have really difficulties with enhancing employers to participate and how to explain, how to register. Of course, we offer all the support we can, but it's still a new way, and we need all to learn, also advisors and also our clients. Okay, this is it.
Thank you. I've understood that Slovakia will not be able to join us today, or at least they haven't yet arrived. So we go over to the last country on the list, last but not least, the United Kingdom. We're going to start with Switzerland. Switzerland is not in the EU, but Switzerland is also in the Eurus network, so Switzerland, over to you.
Okay, my name is Susanne Wilhelm. I'm from Switzerland. I'm a Eurus advisor since 2007 and part of this group since 2008. Eurus Switzerland is very small. We have like 13 Eurus advisors, like 3 Eurus assistants. And we had a change in the Eurus management last month, so we don't really know what will be. And we had this big system change last year, so we are focusing on outgoing and not really on incoming. So this is a big challenge because Switzerland is a receiving country and people are coming anyways, migration happens. So we have to look what the new Eurus management is thinking of doing. At the moment we are concentrating cross borders, France and Germany. We have a few projects in cooperation. The biggest goals we achieved in the last 2-3 years, I think, is we established our own homepage, eurus.ch. We produced several brochures, living and working in Switzerland, and sectorial flyers for construction, health sector, industry, watchmakers, and so on. They are all on our homepage, which can be downloaded in PDF form. We have just uploaded a small video on our homepage about living and working in Switzerland. It's a very short video because we also know people don't read anymore, so maybe it's better if we give the information in form of a video. Switzerland is not really strong in social media. This will come as next, but we are still struggling with this. So, about everything, and we'll have a look what will be.
Thank you, and again apologies for almost having forgotten you. We haven't forgotten you. UK.
Everybody, I just want to say it's great to be here because this is my first time at this meeting. I work as a Eurus advisor, so I found it really interesting listening to everybody's experiences, and I think we all face similar challenges. Social media, that's the biggie I think that's come out for me. To keep it light-hearted, and because I'm the last person to speak, as expected, I've got a little poem for you. I can't take credit for writing it, but my very clever colleague in our Coordination Office, Annetta. She wrote this, and you'll probably tell from it that she works on our budget. Okay? So, hello, my name's Naomi, and I have come from Wales, in the United Kingdom, to tell you all some tales about communication and information too, and how our little nation can stay in touch with you. Although we are a small team, we always try our best to keep you up to date with news from north, south, east and west. This year's been very busy and we've achieved a lot. It's made us all quite dizzy, but we have not forgot that communication matters and helps make Euros shine. Because we've been quite strapped for cash, we've done most of it online. We held a webinar this year on UK work and living to help advisors far and near with information giving. We talked of UK CVs, the difference that it makes. We talked about job adverts, the real ones and the fakes. We've got to grips, with Blackboard, with Livestream and Procaster. We've set up weekly NetOp chats to communicate much faster. Next year will be exciting, our first EOJD. We hope you'll come and join us. After all, it will be free. Aye, there's the rub, as Shakespeare said. It all comes down to money. If we don't come to visit you, don't think we're being funny. We'll do our best to help you all and your job seekers too. But can we come to your event? Maybe not. We're watching the pennies, aren't you? I think that kind of sums up for us, really. We're a small team, as you know, probably one of the smallest in the network. So we have to be really focused and prioritize our activities. We're really proud of the online seminar on the UK labour market that we organised. It was quite a challenge, and we had participants from 18 countries, Euros colleagues, who I think predominantly gave us positive feedback. So we were very pleased about that, and also the cost savings there, because they didn't actually have to travel to the UK to hear that information. I think moving forward, our challenge really, as Mika said, is building a capability in the Euros UK team with all these communication tools so that we can actually effectively use those on social media to promote Euros widely with our key internal and external audiences. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we are now at this situation where it's really a very rare situation for a meeting in Brussels that we are ahead of schedule. So usually we're running late and everyone has to hurry up and be shorter, and we have to skip coffee breaks, etc. So that's fortunately not going to happen. Instead, you will have, however, to listen perhaps a bit longer to me, because I'm going to talk about the communication strategy. I want to give you a bit of a feeling about how we see this document. We have already sent it to you 1 or 2 weeks ago, and we asked you, as the single point of communication, and the National Coordination Office, the head of the National Coordination Office, to look at it and to prepare this meeting, because during this meeting we really want to get very substantive, concrete feedback on this draft. It was a very difficult and painstaking process for us, because as some people said before, it's about giving direction. It's about seeing the forest and not all the trees. And we hope we have succeeded with this draft. But of course we're open for improvements and suggestions. So I'm going to give a presentation, and then afterwards there will be lunch, so you can mull it over. And then there will be breakout sessions, and we will explain to you how that works just before lunch. So if you bear with me for about 20-25 minutes, I'll try and give you an overview of this strategy, and as the UK delegate said, in a light-hearted way, hopefully. All right, now I have 2 mics here. I'm going to give 1 mic to someone else. So here is an overview of the slides I'm going to give to you. Afterwards, it will be available also for a transmission to your colleagues at home. So we're going to talk, I'm going to give you a sort of an executive summary of what we think is important about this strategy. Then we're going to talk a bit about the context, like where does the strategy come from compared to what we had in the past, compared to what we still have now when we are implementing the past strategy, the lessons we've learned. And then I'm going to highlight some key elements in this new strategy. So first of all, guiding principles, objectives, target audiences, and then I'm going to talk a bit afterwards about the process. How do we see the implementation of this strategy across the network? And there, a key image you find already at the end of the strategy document, the draft, from conception to action. And then I have prepared 2 sort of lists of what we would expect people to do to implement that strategy. From the side of the EURES Coordination Office, from the side of national coordination offices and member states. And then, of course, since we are in the 21st century and we must measure everything that we do, there is something about targets and monitoring and evaluation. So, let me start by key messages. My introduction. European Commission thinks that it's time for a new strategy, not because the old one was finished in 2014, but because the landscape has changed because of the EURES reform. So we want to have a new strategy that is aligned with the EURES reform objectives. Secondly, we want a strategy that takes the good things from the past, takes into account new developments, and builds on that. Now, there were lots of examples already today of people who refer to the tools that we have developed over the last few months. We must go on with that and explore that further. NetTop, Blackboard Collaborate, online job days. These were very new developments at the time when the previous strategy was set up, and they have been more or less integrated into your daily practices, and now we want to put them center stage also in the strategy. We want a general framework, this is the third point, about a longer period of time than before. A general framework until 2020, a 5-year period. Overall, what we want to do is to reinforce collaboration in the network and to improve the transparency about what every member state and what the EURES Coordination Office does and how it can help the others in the network to have a genuine synergy in the network. So it's not just about telling you, I'm doing this, and okay, you're doing that, interesting. No, it's, I'm doing this, how can you help me to boost the effect of that, and what are the positive side effects for me as well? I scratch your back, you scratch your back, to put it in a very banal way. So I want to emphasize also that as it is the fruit of a very elaborate and quite sometimes painful thinking process internally, it's a draft document that you have. So it's for discussion today, and it's also for a discussion at the EURES Coordination Group in June, based on your input. today. So depending on your input today and tomorrow, we may revise the document and we will put forward some issues for the EURES coordination group. Of course, you would be happy if you can find some sort of agreement or consensus on the document today and tomorrow. But the EURES coordination group is there also to take managerial decisions on this issue. So those are the 5 key messages if you want to stick to a few key messages. Now, we're going from the current strategy towards a new strategy. So the previous strategy, we're in the top left quadrant, a strategy to support capacity building at national level. And what we saw in terms of lessons learned, you find outlined on page 9 of the draft. There's a table with a list of achievements, and there you see that in terms of capacity building, we have achieved a lot. We've had 280 EURES advisors of the network trained. We had 24 webinars. We had 24 fact sheets. We established toolkits. We did the capacity building bit, the basic bit. But now, time to move on and do more than just capacity building. And what we have to bear in mind, as I said in our introduction, we have a different starting point. If you go in the situation 2012-2014, you see the EURES reform was a project under construction. There was still discussions with the managers, the decision was not adopted, and you see the decision in 2014 was coming into force, but it's still rolling out. It's a slow and lengthy process. It's on track. We're content from the side of the EURES Coordination Group office, but it can, of course, be further developed, and it must still be further developed. So we're in this situation now where there is a bit more stability on the regulatory framework, in the sense that the reform is being implemented. That's a different starting point. The other different starting point is in relation to our tools. I mentioned this already earlier. The portal, yes, you've heard a lot about our plans, but now we're at the stage where you will really be seeing very soon the beta version on the matching function between vacancies and CVs. And I can tell you, it will completely change the EURES world. Then, of course, many of you already mentioned that, the job days and the online job site, etc. In 2011, we started with that, Manchester, Glasgow, etc. And now we are at a stage where we have almost every year about 30 events. And I'm sure we can go to more if we take up the ideas that one or two of you referred to have even small targeted events and use this platform and boost the use of it further. The other thing is about your first year's job. Some people have mentioned it. The Finnish colleague has mentioned it. In principle, it was an experimental action, and now we have a stable funding framework. Each year there will be calls for proposals. There are French and Italian projects, Italian and Swedish projects ongoing, and with a lot of other member states. And we have changed the focus of your first year's job from an open approach where we could invite any organization to participate in this kind of customized matching together with financial support to the individual job seeker, to a system where it's only EURES, it's a tool for EURES. So I would say your first year's job is stable and fully embedded in EURES. And it has great potentials for communication. It delivers a lot of results. It delivers success stories. So now the services that we have and the tools that we have are in a completely different situation from the previous strategy. So that's why we think we should go to another approach. So instead of a strategy which is very global and is presented as a living document to be updated with annual plans, etc., which was the strategy 2012-2014, we go to a stable framework for a 5-year period. More ambitious, yes, but of course we can reap the benefits of the work that we have done, and we can have a bit more of a long-term perspective, focus on the forest, not on the trees, and also create predictability for your management and for our management in terms of what we are going to do. So, very briefly, some key lessons learned from the old strategy. What was missing was that we did not have coordinated joint-up work on communication. We did capacity building, individually. Your network members acquired skills and tools and used them individually. But we have not yet explored fully that potential of this joint-up working. And secondly, maybe social media can be a very useful tool in that sense. It can make a big difference. We've heard that many member states already have made the first steps, but we can go much further than that. The third point is to focus more on employers and multipliers to reach out to employers. It's part of the EURES reform. This is the logic of the reform. Try and get placements by going to employers. Get people matched. Now, we heard already this morning from several member states that they want to focus on that. Germany, Finland, Czech Republic, Luxembourg, Malta, Portugal and Slovenia mentioned that they saw weaknesses there, assuming that they also want to focus on that. So what we need to do in terms of lessons learned from the old strategy is also to integrate better our new tools. And a message we got very strongly from our previous contractor, GOPA and Mostra, is that we should work a bit more on messaging, in the sense that we should be very focused on our target audiences. We are always being very global, job seekers, employers. We should go beyond that. Now, maybe we cannot do that at EU level, but perhaps it can be done in a domestic context. And then perhaps the Commission, the EURES Coordination Office, can help you with developing that. But what we would like to do at EU level is to say, we would like to give you a compass for that. So identify our brand values and unique selling points. It's more elaborated than in the previous strategy. And therefore then find a way to target that to audiences. And of course the brand values, there was discussion in the past, but they were never clearly elaborated. They are important tools. It's about what are we? What do we do? What do we stand for? To make sure that there's no doubt from the side of our clients, our customers, about what they can expect from us. So these brand values, they are important. And if we are going to communicate as a network, have a consistent application in all member states, across all organizations, then we must share those brand values. So you find them in the document, and we need your endorsement or your review of that. So here you see this a bit outlined in visually. If you compare the guiding principles, so in 2012-2014 we had these 4 guiding principles. Don't limit the network, add value centrally, prioritize human stories, integrate social media. 2 of those we're going to take a bit further, or to continue, and we add 2 new ones. Don't limit the network. It was all about understanding all the tools that are available. And I think we've done that. We've done the capacity building bit. And we know that we must continue with communication trainings. So this is not really an issue anymore. This is a given. Add value centrally. What happened so far was we gave you some elements to help you execute locally. Well, we want to go a bit beyond that. Huh? We want, again, I go back to this metaphor of the forest and about joint up working. We want to go to centrally coordinated but nationally executed campaigns. Coordination among the network, reinforcing each other's messages using social media, etc. Genuine network cooperation. Prioritizing human stories. There were several countries this morning who mentioned that. I think it was Denmark who said something about how a document was, sort of a newspaper, was very well received because it was all about human stories. So in the previous strategy, we already had this idea. We should focus on human stories. We must continue with that. We haven't really succeeded on that. So we can use social media and other tools to focus on the human success story when it comes to yours. And of course the role of ANIP, the news bureau, is very important. And this morning Abigail already made a very clear plea to you: please communicate your good stories to ANIP. So then there are two new guiding principles. Developing a broader network. This is also about the EURES reform. Huh? We want a broader network, but it's about reaching out to employers using multipliers. Maybe there are multipliers in your country which you haven't thought about. So this is also one of the items that we highlight that we should develop now. And then the other thing is about increasing and improving the targeting of audiences. So that is using the brand values and the unique selling points, but making them a bit more targeted, tailor-made, specific for certain audiences in your country. I think this morning there was the example of Latvia about the issue of fair mobility. Very specific, but it means that you slightly communicate differently. But you can develop these kind of things, and we can help you with that. So these are the 4 new guiding principles that we propose. The new objectives that we propose, they are the 3 on the right side. So we want to have as an objective awareness, improve awareness and brand perception. Encourage and facilitate active collaboration inside the network and outside the network. And thirdly, establish this idea of EURES staff as ambassadors. Three communication objectives, and our key idea is to say these are shared objectives for everyone in the network, and afterwards at member state level everyone should implement them. So we want everyone to say to each other within the network, for these 3 objectives I'm doing action X, Y, and Z. I'll come to that later. Now the issue of the staff ambassadors, I mean that comes from the idea that our best resource is really the human network. Everyone always says that when we talk about EURES, wherever we go. So really let's turn that into our strongest asset. Everyone in the human network knows certain things, expertise, has experiences with employers, with job seekers, with multipliers. Let's find a way to foster a culture where we exchange this information more openly, more actively, and where we transfer this knowledge. And we, from the side of the EURES Coordination Office, we're going to facilitate that thanks to the new extranet. The extranet will help really to build communities of learning and practices. And afterwards, of course, what we expect from those staff ambassadors is not just internal communication. It is also, and perhaps more importantly, external communication. Talking with the media, talking at information events, at job days, promoting EURES in relation to this first objective, improve awareness and brand perception. So this third objective, in a way, it fits all together. It's overarching. Okay, the target audiences. Very briefly, we have some more details in the document. Under employers and job seekers, we have proposed 3 subcategories. Would be interesting to hear your ideas about that. Are we on the right track or not? So this is in chapter 4 of the draft communication. Those 2 key target audiences. Then there is a message to each individual member state, each NCO. Think about whether you have more specific or more targeted audiences, and whether you need then a specialized messaging. We can give a toolkit for that. We're open to that. This is our offer. Okay, now we come to these slides, which I think is crucial in terms of the process. So we're now in the first phase here on the top left, design of the EURES communication strategy. And we're moving downwards to the end. We're moving towards endorsement by the EURES Coordination Group and the EURES Management Board in this year. And then afterwards, we would like member states to develop national communication plans. Many of you already mentioned this morning that you're working on national communication strategies. Let's find a way to align that. Make sure that your national communication strategy fits into this bigger picture. If we have these national communication plans, we will know that everyone will be singing from the same hymn sheet. Everyone will be implementing part of the 3 communication objectives that we have set. It will be clear from the outset, and it will be a predictable and stable framework for 5 years to come. So you will identify actions relating to the 3 communication objectives. If you're a small country, it can be 1 action under each. If you're a big country and you have different target audiences in mind, you may have several. And then afterwards, of course, you could link it in with your programming cycle for the EURES reform in terms of what you do on an annual basis. So the communication plans are multi-annual because they implement the entire strategy for the 5 years, and then afterwards perhaps you will have a breakdown year by year, also in relation to what you do under the programming for the implementation of the EURES reform. On the right side you see why we take each steps and why we think it is important. Of course we want to make sure with these national communication plans that you can implement the objectives of the network, taking into account all the elements of your domestic context. In some cases in some countries we're talking about incoming mobility. In others we're talking about sending outgoing mobility. Communication differs, of course, and your target audience differs. That's a very general example, but there are many other examples. So, action from the member states. I don't know, maybe in the Commission we have this fad now that we're talking about 10 points. Huh? Mr. Juncker had his 10 points, we have 10 points here as well. So, I don't know, it was by chance that I came to 10 points. Maybe I've forgotten someone. But it is 10 points. So, I don't want to go through them here. I just want to highlight the most important one is for you to concentrate on. The first one is to develop and monitor a communication plan for the 5-year period. That takes into account these 3 communication objectives. And then afterwards you see that there are several things that we ask you to do, which I think you're already doing. From what I have seen from all the grants and from what I hear when talking with people on the network, most of the things you are doing, except of course the staff ambassadors, which is really, really new. And this idea of the coordinated campaigns. What are we going to do to help you? Again, also 10 points. It corresponds. So we're going to assist you with the design and the implementation of the communication plans. We're going to, and this was already explained this morning, expand a bit on our communication training plan. We have all these webinars. The webinars are very successful. We want to build on that. We want to continue with that. So we need your input also in terms of themes and needs, etc. So we're really going to further develop that together with TIPEC. We're going to make toolkits, including for any targeted audiences that you identify in your country. This is a specific one. And then you say, EURES Coordination Office, please help me on that. We're going to develop this staff ambassador program, but of course we need volunteers from your side. Going to help you with customer satisfaction tools. We are thinking about some pilots. We'll inform the EURES coordination group about that. We're going to do a lot of work on social media, mutual learning of social media. How can we develop further this? Putting the people together who are responsible for managing the social media account. Not just from the side of the EURES Coordination Office, but especially from your side. We want to have a bit of a supporting role there. We're not going to have our own thing. We just want to support what you do at national level. Multipliers, we can help. We're thinking of setting up a project which we call EURES Friends. That would be like the staff ambassadors, but not people inside the network, but people from outside the network who have a success story to share and who you could ask to come to another event in another country. And we think, well, it's a sort of an external ambassador. This would be useful. It can support this idea of prioritizing human stories, and we can help you in your concrete communication campaigns at national level by bringing someone like that to participate in an event or a panel or speak to the media, etc. But for that, of course, we need a bit your endorsement. And from our side, what we will do in terms of transparency, we will also make a communication plan to show you what are the tools, what are our plans in terms of training, in terms of support for social media, etc. So we want to be transparent also on that. So this is those are the two lists, 2 times 10. I promised you the one which is all going to thrill you, which is about monitoring, evaluation, and targets. Very key principle: you want to achieve the desired results under the 3 communication objectives, and we're going to measure this in 2 ways. One, in terms of KPIs in the national communication plan. And we've given a list of suggestions already in the document. And it would be good if you could have a look at that, if we are there. Because it would be so easy if we all agree on those KPIs and you just select from that menu. And in addition to that, we have some general EU targets for, we want to have all member states on board when it comes to communication plans. We want to make sure that there are toolkits. We want to have a staff ambassador program with a minimum number of people and with full coverage in member states by 2020. So we have 5 years to achieve that. We want to develop something on multipliers, and on social media we want to be sure that everyone is active by 2020. So now I have finished my presentation. I hope you have been enlightened on our ideas behind the strategy. This afternoon we're going to have breakout sessions, and we want to have your feedback, and we would like you to organize these breakout sessions in a very structured way. So give us your feedback on messages in the strategy, and what do we say about this strategy? Are we on the right track? So that's the theory, that's the concept. Do you agree with the concept? Then are you sufficiently empowered to implement it? What are the obstacles you see at national level that could prevent you from implementing an element. I think someone already hinted at it, saying, oh, well, this staff ambassador thing may be a bit difficult depending on the mandate. Maybe there are other issues like that. It would be good if you tell us that under the second point. And then the third point, what else do you need? What would you expect from the EURES Coordination Office other than this list of 10 points that we gave you? Or maybe in relation to those 10 points, you want a bit more detail or some more information. So that's the structure for the breakout sessions. And the idea is that if you come back here in plenary, from each breakout session, you may have identified between 5 to 10 points you want to tell to everyone, which are really important. Not a lot of details, just key messages for how we can improve this document and where we can adjust in terms of your assessment and your needs. So that's the presentation. I think it's 1:45. Time for lunch. Marinella is telling me we have 10 more minutes, so we could use that for any general questions or comments on the strategy, perhaps. And then at 1 o'clock we really break for lunch. We go downstairs, right? Downstairs on the ground floor.
The last countries arrived. 2 countries missing.
There was Slovakia and Estonia. No. If there are no general comments and you're all very tired or just overwhelmed or whatever, yes, go ahead.
On? Can you? I have only one question. I saw on page 8 that you mentioned also the problems that might arise through mobility in Europe, and I think I agree with that, but I didn't see any comment on it, how you want to solve that, what is the strategy to fight against it. For instance, he has written, while evidence points strongly to the economic benefits of labor mobility, its impact on the ground is subject to discussions both in destination and origin countries, reflecting concerns such as pressure of local public services, socio-economic inclusion, abuse and fraud, etc. Do you know which paragraph I mean?
Yes, we have introduced this paragraph to make sure that we're all aware of the difficult political context and environment in which we operate when it comes to labor mobility. At European level, but also at national level. And this is for sending and for receiving countries. In terms of big themes, we talk about brain drain and welfare tourism. And they are quite extreme elements of the discourse on this. Commission wants to go to a balanced approach, so we will come with this package, legislative package, by the end of this year, where we address this issue of the abuse in 2 ways, at least in 2 ways. First of all, we will focus on revision of the legislation on the coordination of social security. And secondly, we will proceed with what is called a targeted review of the posting of workers directive. And on this basis, there will be some suggestions for changes or support to member states to fight abuse, etc. That will come from the side of the Commission at the meta level, if you like, at the European level. But I think in the context of EURES, knowing this particular situation, we should, in our toolkits and in our messaging, come with elements on that. And I think we should try with EURES to focus on opportunities, on fair mobility, and on positive results that we achieve for individuals, for EU citizens. To have a counter message to these more generic stories about brain drain, welfare, tourism, etc., etc. And I think that's a big job for the EURES network, but admittedly it's a bit hidden in this document. But you can understand it when we talk about the brand values. Does this answer your question? Yeah. I think it was a very difficult question. No more other questions or comments? Well, in that case, we can break, and you can go slowly towards the lunch time. We resume at 2 o'clock. So try and be here just 5 to 2 so we can start exactly at 2 o'clock. Thank you.